Roderick. Thank you so much for joining me today. Maybe if you could just please introduce yourself, where you're from, and who do you represent here at COP?
Thank you so much, Sarah. Hello, everybody. My name is Roderick Holness Rollins, and I am from the Solomon Islands. I am here attending the COP on behalf of the government. So, yeah, I'm currently under the capacity of government representation here at the COP.
Tell us a little bit about the Solomon's stand here at COP. What are we fighting for?
Yes, so Solomon Islands, at the moment, we also in support with other AOC's countries, counterparts here as well, and we all have these common goals and what are the priority key areas for the government at the moment. And so we cover wide areas of thematic areas at the moment, but I think in one of the most important common areas and priorities that we are calling is of course looking at the loss and damage funds, climate finance. We are looking also at resetting what our voices here in the COP, and especially with all the impacts that we are facing and challenges as well, in terms of carrying out our national development determination contributions in our specific homes. And of course, this is where we all here to sort of like negotiate and what are the important outcomes that we look forward to reaching at the end of this COP.
Tell me, how does it feel like being young and being a youth and being involved in this high level discussions?
Thank you so much. Yeah, I think it's really, really important to have young potential youths, and especially youths that are, from if you coming from a different perspective, as from the societies, private sectors, and of course the government side. It is really a great opportunity to come here and experience the high level negotiations and of course attending different thematic areas. At the end of the day, the youths, we are the future of our countries and our homes, and especially for us in the Pacific, we the youths, we are the ones vulnerable to the climate impacts that we are facing now. And of course, having us in these particular platforms enable us to get a taste of how we can deal about these processes, and of course, outside this space, how can we make more comprehensive approaches, or of course strategy or other very critical engagements that we can do to raise our concerns, our voices in this international fora where all these global leaders are coming here to discuss. On the onset, of course, these processes are very, very complicated and slow in some way because it needs more multilateralism and of course consensus. But this is where as a youth, and of course we come together here to sort of like give them that push to remind them of what are the really urgent actions that we need to do and need to take coming from us youth. Is very important because we best represent the vulnerable ones in the communities, especially the older ones, the women, and of course we have people with disabilities, and of course etc. So yeah, I think that is why it's really important for us to be here at the COP. It is also set a good precedent if we are to be here, because then it provides that already forward-looking approach in terms of being a leader in the future. Yeah, we all have that responsibilities in our own specific communities and countries, and of course our societies, that having this already a taste of leadership role, you can go back and of course encourage other youths and be part of the national development strategies, of course the goals that we want to achieve in our Pacific homes.
Thank you, Roderick. So aside from being, here in your capacity to help support your government in the Solomons, what do you do back home?
Yeah, so back home, I'm actually working with the civil societies, and I am the executive board chair for the Solomon Island Climate Action Network, and of course we work with it's a network of almost 60 grassroots communities that are working in terms of all the different climate areas, looking at conservations and others with waste management and all this stuff in terms of how can we mobilize them to access opportunities in terms of projects and otherwise capacity building, looking at how can we enhance the vulnerabilities, especially the people with disabilities and women, and those are very critical areas that we don't have in the Solomon Islands. And having this young group from the Solomon Island Climate Action Network able to carry that forward, sort of like also address some of the gaps that even our national government through the climate change division are also trying to find solutions for. So having that collaboration together with them is something that is really important for us, and that's why I am able to be here in supporting the government as well.
So, what are some of the things that you see on the ground in your capacity as civil society of the Solomons that has really triggered and given you the passion to be able to speak on their behalf while you're here?
Thank you so much. Yes, I think the realities of what is actually happening in the ground is very important. Um, because some of us, coming to this international forum, we forgot to really express and tell what are the stories of the people back home. I was fortunate to actually go to the communities, yeah, and really have story interview and of course face-to-face stories with people that are impacted. So for example, in Solomon Islands, I went to a particular community in Lambi just to talk with a young lady. And the young lady was fortunate to be survived from a actual catastrophic disaster, a landslide that buried almost all the houses that were residing in the particular area. Her family and herself was the only one who survived, and everyone was buried under the ground. And having to get that raw expression and feeling and pain from a young lady, a youth, is very interesting and of course very emotional. And especially having to ask her what does she looks forward to in the future, and especially having her own family, and her children one day will also have their own family. Does she sees a future in her home, and she doesn't have any. She confirmed, and of course, just tell me the story that I am no longer safe here. I have to go to another place, and having to move from your own home is really challenging. But when you get that sense of having that challenge and that pain inside, you can relate to that, and of course, really difficult to sort of like tell the story. But that's actually the actual expression that we need to come here and of course tell the story, because then we might just talk about climate change impact us in sort of this way, but we need to also give the stories that actually really hits the core of what our people back home actually wants to hear from us as well.
And how important are these stories when you're in the negotiation room?
It is very important because for me personally, sometimes having all these negotiations going on and stuff like that, and of course it distracts you from what were the aim, and of course you are there sitting there and trying to do, but having to understand and hear the stories, of course it reminds you of this passion and commitment that I am here to do the work that and of course represent the voices of these people who are actually really impacted, and of course now living the brunt of the climate impact. So yeah, with that having to also be part of me coming here is really important, because then it gives me that that fire to keep on burning and also keep on pushing for them as well here.
You're probably inside observing the whole process in the negotiation room. What are some of the pushbacks that the Pacific get from their counterparts from the global emitters?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think that's a really important question, and of course I think with all the thematic areas and the discussions at the moment, I think we are facing all similar challenges with the negotiation process going on. But in terms of mine, I think with JST, the thing that we are now facing as well, one of the challenges is that we're trying to look at facilitating the climate finance to be also considered as part of the implementation phase for the national determination contribution for us, especially all the countries around globally, but and of course for us, small islands